Welcome friends, welcome Shadow Gamers. Today we're going to be playing some Infected. They're about to drop a huge update, but they've had a couple of huge updates in the recent past, and we are going to try and survive. The question being, can we survive 3 full days without either dying to an infected or to our own stupidity? I'm going to say, let's find out. You're not going to mess too much with the settings. I tend to play where your base, it does get attacked, but you have a reasonable window. So we're not going to have base attacks right off the bat. 5 seems right. You know what? 10 was pretty good for a horde. Start day 20. So if you're not familiar with the Infected, the settings that I've changed are start day of base attacks, which is day 10 now, and it will happen every 2 days, 2 in-game days. And for the hordes, we're starting at day 20. These are special attacks that will come every 20 days, well, on the 20th day, and will continue every 10th day, or every 3rd to 5th day, I guess, and have 10 mobs. I don't really mess with these too much, but I have determined that this is an optimal setup for me. You can play on whatever settings you like, and I encourage you to do so. Here we go. Now it's just a matter of loading. So a little bit about this game. I have watched a couple of YouTubers in the past. I've seen them play. It's how I figure out some of the things I can't figure out on my own. And admitting that, after all, we are not professional gamers. We're average Joes. We play from the shadows. That's right. But this game's been out for a few years, certainly a lot less than certain other games in early development, which shall remain nameless. And it is kind of a hybrid vampire zombie game. If we get a good look at an Infected, you will understand exactly what I mean. But they are actually called Vambies in this game. So one of the recent changes they made is they start you out in, I'm just going to pause the time because it's not good to let it run out. One of the recent changes they made is you start in a random location. So the first thing we're going to do is pull up our map and figure out where on the map we are. Ooh, this is good. This is good. I've been experimenting with this base, and actually my practice run, I started in this base. This base is a good one. Reasonably. It can be difficult to get to where you want to go all the time, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So the first thing we're going to want to do is find some rocks. We're going to want to find some sticks. And they are not being nice to us today. They are nowhere to be found. That's a frog. Yeah, by the way, the little guys that crawl along the ground, they're frogs. You can kill them for meat, which we will be doing at some point. But we need a spear for that, and in order for us to get a spear, we need wood and a whole bunch of other things. Aha, a stick. Perfect. Okay, so this will allow us to make an axe. And we're going to do just that. If you go to this book icon here, it'll pull up everything you can make. You're going to refer to this a lot in the game because it's generally easier than trying to figure out how to do it with the Minecraft crafting style. It's just easier. Use the book. It's faster. Way less confusing. It'll also tell you what you need. So the first thing we're going to do here, this is a cave. You can get special resources in there. We're not going to go in near yet because there's scorpions. The map is dark and full of scorpions in there. So if you go here, you can start building base type structures. What we're going to build is under placeables, we're going to get a saw bench. Yeah, you know what? We're going to get a couple saw benches because they're not super expensive or hard to build, and it's just faster to use more than one of them. Now, one thing you can do, one thing you are going to do, or we are going to do in this playthrough, I should say, not you. You may be different. But one thing we're going to do in this playthrough is we are going to take over this cave. It is going to be ours and nobody else's, because we're jealous like that. There we go. So you put the logs on the tables, and you'll get planks that pop out here. You're going to need that to build any kind of foundations. And at the moment, we are just going to go ahead and place... There we go. I like the look of these ones better. If you hold X and scroll your mouse wheel, you'll be able to lower it down a little bit at a time. One more up. There we go. And now we can just lay them in line with the other. Yeah, see, those aren't lined up quite right. We want them to be just a little bit taller, because we do want them to go over the rocks, because it looks nice. And we're about aesthetics here. That's about all we got going for us some days. Let's put that up. Is that... Oh, stop it. It's already being finicky with me. Alright. That looks good. And we'll have to build a ramp to get in there, but... yeah, no, that's perfect. Can I see a scorpion? I can't. I don't know if you guys can see exactly what's... Oh, some mushrooms. Yoink. And we're out of here. So mushrooms are great. They give you vitamins and other stuff. Oh, okay. So you have to manage different types of nutrition. You need protein, carbs, fat, and vitamins. Mushrooms give you carbs and vitamins, I believe, at the expense of a little bit of thirst, which is something we'll have to deal with later. But for right now, we are solid. And do I have any sticks? I don't have enough sticks. So in the not too distant future, we are going to need a couple of things really quickly. First and foremost, we're going to need a campfire, which naturally will build eventually. Right now, though, what we want is to put down a couple of storage boxes. Now, these storage boxes are all really easy and really cheap to build. So we're going to build a firewood box, because we're going to have some of that eventually. And it's just easier to build it now. We're going to have a couple of plank stands. Those will come into play probably much later, but it never hurts to have them if you need them. We're going to put down several log stands. Actually, we're going to put down 3 of them, because I don't think we're going to fill that many at a time right now. Later, we will be building an absolute ton of them, and there will be a reason for that we'll get into at that time. And then we're going to build a stick stand, because it holds a ton of sticks, and we're going to need that stick stand sooner rather than later. There we go. And if you just hit E while you have it in your inventory, you'll place like sticks and firewood and all that good stuff into the holders. So stuff despawns if you don't use it. And if you right click, you can take it out again. We're going to build a... No, we're not going to build that yet. Oh, yes we are. There we go. And if you hit N, you can pick it up and take it with you. And it does not actually burden you. It doesn't weigh anything when you do that, whether it's full or not. And we're gonna use that to quickly transport some logs back to our base so we can refine them. So see how easy that is? Oh, it's a thing of beauty. Oh, the other thing we're going to need right now is going to be a water bin. There we go. And I'm actually going to place like 3 of those, just because it's handy to have that many. Now the water bins take planks, which is why we immediately built the saw bench. The saw bench gives you planks, and the planks allow us to build the water basins. And I have severely misjudged my capabilities again. Again, not professional gamers though, so we're not worried about it. There we go. And we're just going to harvest those. Pick up the logs. You do have some time before stuff starts to despawn, but it's better not to leave it if you don't have to. And you can harvest firewood to get more sticks as well, if you need to. There we go. And we're just gonna... Actually, no, we're not. We're gonna actually build one of those, because apparently we are stuck with a whole bunch of... oh, there we go. Harvest that. Sticks, make the plank holder. There we go. Harvest that for more sticks. There we go. And as you can see, our firewood is almost full. You're only going to want to use one of these at a time, so you don't really need more than one holder for this exercise. And then we come back here. We grab this, we throw that there, and then we grab this one, and we also bring it over here, because we're going to chop down one big one and 2 little ones, and that will completely fill nice and neatly, I might add, our quota for logs. Now alternatively, I could chop down 2 larger ones. You know what, let's do that. We're going to chop down 2 larger ones, just because we can and will be using sticks here in the almost imminent future. So we'll just go ahead and throw those logs in there, and then these logs in there. There we go. We're going to take these over to our workbenches. Yeah, exactly. And then we're going to bring all the log holders back, and we're going to start filling these stands, which will give us a very nice base to work with of supplies. So we're going to harvest that, we're going to harvest that, we're going to harvest the firewood to make an absolutely obscene amount of sticks, which I promise you will fit in the stick holder eventually. And then we're just going to pick them all up. Oh, there we go, and our inventory's full. Check this out. Might get like half a stick holder here. Yeah, well, maybe not half of one, but... Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's half a stick holder. That's pretty decent. Harvest that one too. And then we're going to go and find a rock. Oh, we have a rock. Okay. So you need a stone blade, some plant fiber, and some sticks to make a pickaxe. which is now what we are going to do. Stone pickaxe. Yes, please. Okay. Now there is a rock holder that you can make, but we need nails for that, and we don't have any nails yet, which is unfortunate. And so we can't build one of those just yet. But what we can do is take some logs and make our first row of foundations. And the foundations are going to give us an elevated place to sit. They're going to give us a place to rest if we need it. And we will need it eventually. And we take these planks, we build a foundation. Oh, and we're out of planks. Oh, so much work. We're not afraid of that, are we? We're going to take the plank stands. We're going to move them over here closer to where we're building. You don't want to have to be zipping around all over the place all the time, because you do have a stamina bar and your food and water disappears really quickly. And then that's just the straight truth of it. Alright. I'm going to bring all those over here. We're also going to bring the benches over here. We're going to place those over here by our water. Buildings and placed objects don't seem to take any structural damage when they're rained on, so unlike some other games where that's a concern, that's not a worry here. We're not worried about that. We're just going to keep on our merry little way. You know what? I'm going to bring this one over here. I'm just going to set that there. And that can be our bin, or our log holder, exclusively for those two saw benches, which makes sense to me. Hope it makes sense to you. I'm going to drop those down and throw that in there. Brought a thing with me and I didn't even use it. So when you make tools, they're automatically going to go in slots 1 to 4. That goes for weapons too, and it's a shared slot. So it's not like you have tool slots and then you also have weapon slots. You only have 4 hotkeys. So at some point you are going to need to make storage containers for those weapons, and they have to be weapon or tool racks specifically, which unfortunately is a tech, and it's not available to you at the start. It's also not hypercritical, because generally speaking, you're going to have an axe, you're going to have a pickaxe, and you're probably going to have 2 spears, and that's all you're going to have for a while. So it's not the end of the world if you run out of slots. As long as you have your spears, the ability to have a spear in your hand at all times. There you go, naturally. Okay, so we're pretty close to that now. Okay, also, if you build something, you can jump on top of it. So you don't have to build a ramp here right away. I'd recommend that you do. But if you want to not have things charging up on you and attacking you, you can just not build a ramp. Of course, that means that whatever's attacking you will likely try and get to you from the ground, which means they'll smash your foundations. And when things attack your foundations, those foundations will absolutely take damage. So be aware of that. Okay, so... Alright, we got a nice foundation here. That's good. You do want to make sure that these foundations, I should explain, you do want to make sure that these foundations are raised up a bit above the rocks, which is why I've placed them as high as I have. Because scorpions can and will aggro to you from within the cave. And if you're just chilling out on your platforms, you don't want to have to be taken... Oh, there's one. Oh. No. Don't do it, Mr. Scorpion. I don't want it. Is he still out there, or is he in here? I don't know where he is. Oh, that's not good. Where is he? Did he follow me? I don't know. But we need to go and get these to finish that. I suppose I'll know in a minute if he pops out from behind these things here. I'm really hoping not. Okay. So at the moment, what we're going to do is... Alright. Oh. 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 We're burdened. Oh, it hurts. Okay, close enough now. Where is my weight? There it is. Okay. So that brings us to our next point of survival. We're going to need boxes. And I mean lots of boxes. Now, for the most part, you can actually use some of your placeables and stuff to create sort of a wall. Because once they're built, they actually have unit collision. Which is absolutely something that you probably don't want to have to worry about all the time. However, unit collision also applies to the Vambies in this game, which are the monstrosities that we're going to be killing later for loot. Because we're loot goblins. Oh yes. And since we have the rocks, and now we're back near our base, so Stoneforge is going to be something that you need, and you're going to need it relatively early. And we're also going to need to put it under a roof. Yeah, you know what? That's fine. We'll build it first, and then we'll move it as we need to. Okay, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are not going to stay there, but we are going to place them there to get the rocks out of our inventory. Okay, and there's our next platform. So this game starts out nice and chill. Generally, you don't get attacked right away. Oh, look at that. So if we go to our... See, we're already thirsty. Like, really thirsty. And our hunger and stuff is already plummeted. You start with 5 beef stew rations. These used to give you, like, half a level up. They don't need more, so go ahead and eat them. You don't need to save them. They are for you to start the game with, and I recommend that you use them for that purpose. Because they're not going to do you any good later. You might as well use them now. I used to save them because when they gave you a stat bonus, there was a time that you would actually lose your progress towards the next stat. And I died a lot, so I did not hang on to them. But you absolutely don't need to anymore because you don't lose the progress either. There's no reason not to use them. And in the early game, they are far more valuable than hanging on to them could ever make them. So, well, we're tired apparently. Now this game is largely about managing your ability to survive. And we are doing fairly well so far, but let's make more planks and let's get some of these other foundations done. And I'm just going to build a central ramp, which is under stairs, by the way. It's not under like ramps. Stairs and ramps are basically the same thing in this game. If it raises or drops you down in elevation, it's a ramp or a stair, and it's all on the same tab. All right. But you are going to need to manage your resources, and sometimes it can be a little tedious. That's okay. We're okay with that. So my personal history with this game is a little weird. I picked it and 7 Days to Die up at the same time because I was interested in this one and I was interested in 7 Days to Die. And at the time, my friends were playing 7 Days to Die, and this one didn't have a multiplayer mode. By the way, this is single player only. So if you're looking to play this with your friends, that is not a thing. And according to the dev, it will never be a thing. So this is always going to be a solo experience. Very harsh. You and Mike are only going to have you and Mike to talk to. Mike will come into play later. He's an NPC. He doesn't say much though, unfortunately. We love Mike, but he's the quiet type. Okay, we're gonna take our pirate booty and stick it up here. There we go. And we have 2 forges already. Oh, there we go. And it's raining, I think. Yes, it is. Okay, so rain in this game will put out your forges and campfires. You have to have your campfires covered. But if you notice, the opening of this cave acts as a cover. So if we stick our forges in here on the platforms, they too will be covered and they will not get put out by the rain. Which is exactly why we've moved them up here. I haven't noticed any health effects for being out in the rain. If that did change, I would of course let you know, but I haven't noticed any. So you're good to stay out in the rain as long as you need to. There is no ill effects for it. Yeah, you don't need to worry about it. Oh. Yeah, I forgot about that because I usually turn it off for that reason. Lightning flashes in this game pretty extreme, so if you have photosensitive seizures that can be triggered like that, thankfully mine aren't. But if you do have photosensitive seizures, you do not want to be staring at the thunderstorm. There is an option in the... Actually, I need to see if I can edit that. Is there... No. Okay, so yeah, you have to go out to the main menu in order to turn that off. As I said, it doesn't bother me. At some point, I will disable that. Actually, I think I'm going to do that now. And I will leave the video rolling so that you guys know where the option is. Oop, no, we want to save first. Yeah, this game doesn't autosave, guys, either. Don't exit the game without saving. Okay, so options. There should be a... Hey. Okay, so if we go... No. Okay, so Thunder and Lightning. Okay. So, Thunder and Lightning, you just switch that to disabled, and it won't flash like that anymore. Then we go back in, we load the game, and we continue on. Be safe, guys. Don't... If there's flashing lights like that and you can disable them, it is not uncool to disable that. If you have seizures, you should be just as free to enjoy the game too. So if you need to disable those, you do that. Be safe. I will never tell you to do anything other than be safe. At least in real life. I may encourage you to explore and do dumb shit in the game, but I won't encourage you to do dumb shit with the game. So see, no flashes, and it's still raining, right? So, yeah, no more flashes. Interestingly enough, this is one of the first games that I can think of where I could actually disable that sort of thing. So I view this game as very forward for that. I'm not saying that this game is the first one to disable flashing like that. I'm saying it's the first one I personally played. So it is the first one I remember with that option. And I remember I absolutely loved that because, yeah, you got to be safe. If you're worried about, doing the funky chicken in your chair, you're not playing the game. Your head's not in the game. And it's hard to enjoy when you're worried about, things that can affect your health. So, it's nice that he gave us the option to disable that. Props to the developer. All the props. I know that in today's day and age, it's very popular for a lot of streamers or YouTubers to join the Discord with the developer. I don't plan on doing that. I'm not a part of the Discord, and I don't plan to join it. It's just not something I'm wanting to do. The developer does a good job, and honestly, when it comes to games, I mean, the developer is going to make a game that fits their vision, and they want their game to be what they envisioned it, and that's their right. They're the one making it, right? So I agree with developers making those calls, right? I also, however, respect the gamer's right to be like, hey, this isn't my bag, I don't like this, and not play it. I mean, that's totally up to you. If you don't like the game, you don't have to play it. Right? You don't have to buy it. You don't have to play it. That's just not something that you need to do. You can, obviously, but you don't need to. It's not being forced on you. So, food for thought, right? I guess by the same token, though, I mean, if you have the ability to join the Discord and you don't, right, and you have the opportunity to have your say, I guess, in what the developer does, and you don't exercise it, you don't get to bitch too loud. So, I mean, I guess there is that. But why would you want to bitch about a game that you enjoy playing, right? I suppose there's arguments to be made both ways. So, all right, we're getting to the end of the platform here. There we go. Now I just need a whole bunch of planks. All right. There we go. 2 planks there, 2 there. Come back, take these. All right. Okay. Do we finish that one right now? Is that important? Maybe. All right. Yeah, you know what? It's important enough. So mushrooms, I mentioned earlier, give you vitamins and carbs. The frog meat will give you fat and protein. Go figure. Which means between mushrooms and frog meat, you can, in fact, meet all your basic needs in this game. It's not the preferred method. It's not the most efficient method, but in a pinch, it can work. And I think that's worth mentioning. Let's go get some rocks. We need to finish these forges. Goat out there taunting me. Oh, right. Nope. We want... Oh, that's a sheep. Oh, no. I'll get you later, Gadget. Sorry. Had a little moment there. Okay. So there is later on in the tech. You know what? I'm going to spend enough time talking about the tech tree. I might as well open it and show you. Because we're going to be going and getting some tech here soon. I promise. Ooh, another rock. All right. Yeah, that one, and then that one. All right. And we're just going to take this, and we're going to spin it around so it's facing the same way. Yeah, there we go. And okay, we got some planks. There we go. Bob's your uncle. Boom. Yeah. You know what? I'm not going to do silly stuff today. So in my test playthrough that I'm doing, testing all the new mechanics and whatever, I wound up building up on top of there, which is fine. I mean, it's doable, but yeah, it was kind of a pain. And yeah. Anyway, pain though it was educational at least. So this is probably going to serve both as our main base, and it's going to be our main area for the time being. Later on, we'll wind up building out and expanding, but yeah. Alright, perfect. Beautiful. Alright, now we need a bed, which is furniture, I think. Yeah, okay. Need 6 planks for the bed. There we go. And then we're going to need... There is a chair in here somewhere. Kitchen? No. Bathroom? No. Living? No. Nope. 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 Okay. Living room. Dining room? Question mark? I swear there was one that didn't require nails, but whatever. Okay, so we need 6 planks. Not a problem. We are going to move all this stuff closer to the base. The water basins are going to stay here. I'm going to take those. Okay. And we are going to take the workbenches, or the saw benches, I should say. Yeah, exactly. We are going to place them in here somewhere. And we are going to play, what is that? Plank stands? Yeah. Now, for some reason, the saw benches do not like when they are placed in a place where, for whatever reason, they collide with themselves. I don't understand the logic there, because as soon as you put it down, it vanishes from the other place, but, you know. Alright, so we can put this up. We can put that there. Actually, all of the stuff in this game is like that. They don't like to collide even with themselves in their new locations. So when you're moving stuff around with N, you kind of gotta make sure that there's room there already, or place it somewhere else and then move it back. And that can be really challenging when you're trying to build things like the NPC house, among other things. So we are going to, let's see, construction. Okay, so I like these doors and walls more than I like the other ones. There are walls that look like look like logs. I don't like those. So I just use the interior doors. You, of course, can use whatever you like. And I encourage you to build whatever you like. That is the wrong wall. That is not the wall I wanted. Because for this wall, I actually want the one with a door. Or with a window, sorry. I like to be able to see out my windows. At least, you know, when I'm supposed to be defending my base or looking for intruders. And that will come. That time will come. So I need... there's one more thing I need before we close down for the time being. Because we don't want the episode to run too long. So this is something you're going to need really quick and in a hurry. And that would be a campfire, which is where you will purify your water. Now, we already have a lot of firewood, but what we do need is some stone. So we're just going to go get some of that quick. Yeah, okay. There we go. That'll be enough. More than. Alright. And we got our stuff there. Move all that there. And we got our sticks. Okay, and then we're going to throw some fuel in there. We're not going to fill it all the way because this does not take a ton of... It just doesn't take a ton of anything, really. We're going to see... Oh, wait, I have water basins. Okay, so about the water basins, something I don't think I explained or went into at all. The water basins must be outside to fill, but once they are full, you can move them without worrying about them losing their water or anything. Kind of handy, that. So it's like you put them outside for when it rains, and then, you know, obviously you would bring them back again. I believe I need a... I think I need a stone blade, and then I can make a stone spear. Now, the stone spear is not fabulous. It breaks really quickly, and it does not do a lot of damage. However, it is really good for, like, killing frogs or other small animals that you may need to hunt down at times. It's also the only way, really, that you get to kill scorpions. Oh, we can harvest a pigeon that died. Love to see that. Nice. Did we get any? No, we didn't get any meat for that. Because, of course, we didn't. Right. Oh, And there's a frog. Hear him? Yeah. Gotcha. Okay, so we're going to show you how the campfire works before we go. So when you want to cook something, you'll notice I put some water in there. We're going to put the meat there. Now notice there is a timer. It says spoils in under the mouse icon. If that timer hits 0, you will get something called rotten food, and it will be wasted. So technically we have half a real time hour to cook this thing, but we're going to cook it now because that just seems like the better alternative. See? And then we take our lighter, we drag it over the center, it lights up the fire. And see there's little white circles here. When these close up and disappear, these little white circles, that means they're done. So currently we have dirty water, we have raw meat, and when we come back and those are done, we're going to have cooked meat, which is better for you. Much better. Oh, shoot. That was absolutely not what I meant to do. Yeah, so you can grab the meat off the fire without actually being in the fire. I'll take it. It happens. I'll show you the mushroom thing. So see how the carbs and vitamins went up a little bit, but the water goes down? Yeah. That's okay though, because we now have pretty much limitless water. Oh yeah, see, and then we have cooked meat. We're going to take some water. We're going to drink some, and then we're just going to put out the fire, just like that. You want to do that because this little circle goes the other way, and when it hits 0, your stuff automatically turns off. Speaking of things that we could get going, we're going to put 1 log in each of these furnaces. Now that'll allow you to smelt about 3 batches in a furnace before running out of fuel. So 1 firewood it will do you for that, and it's more than enough. Like you do not need to be running these 24/7. In fact, if you do, you're probably going to bake yourself in the center. Sorry, you're going to bake yourself in the summer. Cook yourself all the way through. However you want to look at that. It's going to happen, and it's not a good thing. So just put those there. So, and that is the first episode of The Infected. We got our little setup going here. We got our little house, as it were. We got a bed. Don't forget to make your spawn point by right-clicking on the bed. We got our saw benches. We got our basics. Next time, we will be absolutely going further. We're going to make some gear. Hopefully we're going to kill an animal, which is kind of a waste, but we need the bones because we were not lucky and did not get any bones out of that car over there. Don't ask because we don't ask. And yeah, we'll see you next time on The Infected.